Hi traders, I'm back working during the day, so I try to do my videos in the evening hours, and I really miss being in the chat rooms, but you got to work when you got to work. Basically, I had 3 trades on today. All 3 were winners. Basically, I got all 3 of them from the chat room. One with Black and Decker, the other was Starbucks, and then finally GE. And I made some bucks this morning, and I cashed out. And now we're seeing a lot of fear in the markets again in the overnight session. We have the Taiwan opening up after the long holiday, and boy, they are just getting rocked. They on the verge of hitting limit down on the Taiwan exchange. That means that um, what they call it, circuit breakers. The circuit breakers are about on the verge of hitting and shutting the market down, and because of it's over 5% decline on the Taiwan exchange, and a lot of it is the catch up, but it's really we have the number of people infected, and the numbers are just going through the roof, and it's like an exponential increase in the numbers. They're finally reporting the numbers that they should have been reporting in the first place. We were just being teased with these few thousand people here or there, when they knew that there was more going on than what was being reported. Well, we're finally hearing the reality, and the markets are not initially are not liking it too well. So they're shutting the Chinese market down for like a week and a week and a half here and there. And it's like, guys, this is going to last all the way to the end of February. So China's pretty well off the map till the end of February, as far as I'm concerned. So we'll see what happens. But basically, if anybody knows any chart patterns, I got my 1 hour chart here. This is a potential failed bullish pattern. So higher lows pattern. We broke the trend line again. We have a failure of the pattern. It's a head and shoulders, right head. Logic would dictate we will be coming back down, going negative on the year in the EAS futures. Right now, we are hovering right on the value area high of for last year on the ES futures. So 80% of the volume last year was put in the markets below this red line. So just keep that in mind, that we are just right now trading on that line where the main bulk of the volume last year. So that suggests that the traders, the weak hands up here at the first of the year, they're all getting destroyed here, and potentially all going to have a very bad beginning of the year, and P&Ls are going to start rapidly turning red for many investors. And that's the biggest concern I have in these markets after having such a massive run up, is starting the year off with negative P&Ls, and we're going to have a mad dash to cash out some of the gains from last year, because they don't want to give back those massive gains they had last year. So, and when you see patterns like this, you have to really get concerned that all these traders and hedge funds and stuff, they're sitting on the all these profits, and when you start seeing potential reversal signals, breaking the trend line, coming down like this, and those are things that they have to start considering lightening up their positioning, and at the very least taking on additional protection. So just keep that in mind. And then we'll go look at the NQ real quick. 1 second here. Okay. We still got quite a bit of room here on the before we go negative on the year for the Qs. But what happened with Facebook in the after-hour session, that was nothing less than really bad news for the technology. So just keep that in mind. They just completely destroyed Facebook in the after-hour session, and you can't really have that kind of price action and expect these markets to maintain these atmospheric levels. So far the trend is holding in the Qs. This is something I would be concerned about going into tomorrow. This is our 1 hour chart. If we go out on a 4 hour, let's see what we got here. Yeah, that's an accelerated up move, okay, on our Qs, and we're going to be coming down today and tomorrow, and we are going to be back testing this trend line once again. We have value built out in this area, so that is a good sign. But anytime you're testing that trend line multiple times on a shorter time frame, you have to get more concerned. It's not like one little touch and bounce big time. We held out down here, and now we're going to go right back into there again. So the more touches, the more likely you're going to break to the downside. So just keep that in mind. So even on the 4 hour, we're breaking below our 21. We're right at the 21 SMA on our 4 hour. So our lower time frames have already broken the 20, and now we're going all the way up to the 4 hour. So, and then once the daily 20 SMA breaks, then things start getting in trouble. So we're still holding out on the daily 20, but basically where it's marking right now, we're getting awful close to it, even on the daily. So keep that in mind that we are, once we start breaking that 20, then the fear is going to start surmounting in the markets. So just keep that in mind. Okay, Tesla. This thing is just an outright beast. I mean, and if you are bullish on this market and you think it's just as a short-term thing, here's my take on Tesla. And let me put the daily on here. Yeah, let's go back to the 4 hour so you can see exactly what I'm saying. Tesla's gapping all the way up to 648 right now. Okay. I've mentioned when these algo levels, they call them venom lines, but they're basically algo levels. When these things start widening out, it's a much bigger sign of a blow off top situation. Basically, what we've got going on here in Tesla, we've got an exceptionally wide. We are into the blow off top stage, and with these numbers coming out in the overnight session and the gap up, and we know that there is a huge short interest in Tesla already. With this scenario setting up here, I think they're going to get a massive short squeeze all the way up to the 740, 750 area here in Tesla in the next couple weeks. So just keep that in mind. You're seeing this massive gap up in the after hours session, and I just think it's getting started. I mean, this is actually probably one of the best setups for a long, in my opinion, if these markets were to hold up. So, and I like to, I am one person that really likes to look for the reasons to short things. And we are right above on the 1 hour. We have just crossed above a significant resistance zone, which I do have charted out here. But yeah, but if these markets do hold up here, we are right there in the nosebleed area for these markets, for Tesla to get one massive short squeeze to the upside. And if it wasn't already so shorted, I wouldn't be mentioning this scenario, because there is such a massive short squeeze, and we have the situation going on here. I can see a lot of panic selling, panic covering on the Tesla positioning. So I just wanted to mention that for tomorrow. And then Facebook just got completely rocked. Okay, so that's just horrible. What can I say? And so that's yearly value area high for Facebook, and we do have a little bit of responsive buy into the Facebook, and we are outside the expected move. So the market makers are really getting toasted. The expected move was supposed to be way up here somewhere, and we just got completely rocked on those lower growth forecasts and numbers. And when you go out on the longer time frames here, we had this growth story going on here in Tesla. You cannot disappoint to the degree that they just disappointed and expect these prices to be held. So, very good chance that we're going to see Facebook. All the Facebook holders are going to have negative P&Ls here in the next day or two, in my opinion. So, we'll see how the markets hold up and stuff. But we're just barely treading water on the open of 2020 in the after-hour session. So keep that in mind. They're opening up tomorrow, and anybody who's been holding Facebook, they are negative on their P&L for the year. So anybody who bought in the first of the year, they're going to be coming into the session tomorrow negative for the entire year. So if it opens down here at this price point, so that's never a good scenario for a long position in any type of stock. And like I had mentioned, this is a very accelerated area for Facebook, and so kind of looks like to me we got a right shoulder head, and with those numbers coming out here, we're breaking back down into this range here in the after hour session already. So it looks like we're breaking this uptrend and potentially rolling right back down. And there's a primary trend line I've got drawn in here. The 195 areas here in the next few days seems quite likely. And man, look at this. All this volume yesterday just got completely destroyed on this Facebook. All the uber exuberance, they just, yeah. I feel sorry for the people, I'm telling you. Lamb Research having a very good after-hour session. Had some very robust earnings results. I had mentioned XLV. It had been really underperforming the markets. Here we are flat on the year so far on the XLV, and then you're like IBB. One second here. Okay, you see how the IBB, this is where we open for the year. So we've really been underperforming the markets on the biotechs. Lamb Research, it may not necessarily be that, but it falls into that category in my opinion. So it is nice to see that Lamb Research is catching a little bit of bib since the biotechs have really been underperforming here. So they're at the top of their range, and now we got Lamb Research with some decent results. Yeah, Mark did it again with this Cuervo. I have no idea what the company is. It was called out in the room, and that's another one. Looks like they're going to have a really nice return. It's been completely and totally on fire, but had really good earnings results, and looks like new all-time highs on Cuervo. It looks like a serious growth story. So I'm gonna have to do some more research on this one. So Mark's really been hitting some of these out of the park, and so it's kind of amazing the strength in these markets. Oh, Boeing was another one that it managed to rally a little bit off of the earnings call. It was horrible earnings, but the investors did come in and bought the bad news, and so take that for what it is. So, but at any rate, yeah, I'm working again to tomorrow. Well, today now it's 12 o'clock, and so I'm still leaning to the downside on these markets. I think we've hit a significant top in these markets, but time will tell. And that the semiconductors are going to start underperforming in my opinion. Uh, you can see what's happened. That AMD is really taking the markets, taking the semis down a little bit here, and uh, so here we came right into resistance, and we're coming right back down. So uh, I'm not saying we're in a bear market. I'm just saying there's still a lot of extra that can come out of this market, and for a decent 5% correction. And the little correction we've had so far in this market, every little health outbreak we've ever had, we were, uh, as of down here, we were only 2.5%, and the most mild health outbreak we've ever had was over 5% decline in the markets. So that just tells you right then and there that there's a really darn good chance that we're going to have a much deeper sell off in in these markets. Uh, even on a modest news on this, and they're taking this so serious. I would think the panic that is going to actually set in just a little bit, a little bit more than even normal, given the nature of this, the news and everything on this virus outbreak in China. Okay, that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot.